Some parts of being a gamer are completely hidden from the general consciousness.
Hey bro, you seen, why are you crying?
What is a lake without an ocean?
I don't know, a stormy lake? What's wrong with you?
Some parts your friends and family might heard of, but they don't understand. Hey man, you ever look around the world right now with all the Corona-chan and think, wow, we'd be really screwed if something actually dangerous, well, more dangerous happened, like the T-virus? Oh yeah, zombies are no joke. Exactly, I was thinking, hang on, you know what the T-virus is? Yeah, I loved those movies. Oh god. And of course, some parts of gaming culture have become a constant. Sometimes to the point that you wish it would just die. Hey man, real quick, you gotta go to the Google homepage. What? Why? Yeah, it's gonna do this really cool thing. Yeah, the barrel roll, I'm familiar. No, not that one. Listen, you use voice commands and you search up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. Okay, just in case you're out of the loop. Hi Mom, that code is the Konami code. It is one of the most famous codes in all of gaming from one of the most famous games that basically defined what a side-scrolling shooter should look like. Its arcade cabinet became incredibly popular, both for its action, colors, and pacing, and the ability to play with two people at the same time. It quickly came out on the consoles of the era and spawned a legacy that spans 19 games at the moment. One even came out about a year ago as of this review. Don't play that one. It took the insane rapid-fire guns the series built its name on and put a cooldown on shooting the fun laser guns. It also sucks harder than a Hoover with an optional black hole attachment. You know what else the Contra series was known for? Extreme difficulty. Even in an era of difficult games during the quarter-munching arcade cabinets, Contra still was known for being ridiculously difficult. It was incredibly hard with constant enemies. You almost needed to know exactly what was coming, and even then you might not be able to dodge it. The code from earlier would be generous enough to give you 30 more lives in the original games. And even with all those extra lives, I never once saw the end of the game. Not I never beat it, not I made it to the final level one time, I never saw the second half of the game. If my memory serves, the furthest my friend and I ever made it was stage 5. I am very aware that I'm not the best at this kind of game. But here's what was incredible about the original Contra. We were having fun. We were frustrated, sure, but we were having fun. That was the incredible thing about these quarter munchers. Many of them found a way to make that challenge and thrill enjoyable while still being hard as nails. This review is not about the original Contra, though. What, couldn't you read? Oh, right, I don't actually name my videos the correct title because playing the algorithm game is for successful people. We're skipping right over the first 8 games to play the PS2 game Contra, Shattered Soldier. With 10 more games until the release of Contra's newest dumpster fire, did Konami still have the magic that made the first shine, or was it already on its way downhill? So what was the problem with Shattered Soldier? Difficulty. Just like Contra Rogue Corps failed to understand why shooting was important to the father of side-scrolling shooters, Shattered Soldier fails to understand why difficulty was important to the series, and how to implement it. It kept the classic Contra gunplay. You have 3 types of guns. They all feel about as impactful as rubber bands, but the fire rate is quick and responsive. Unfortunately, the game delights in throwing things at you constantly with minimal to no warning. After 3 hits, you must start the entire level over from the checkpoint. 3 attempts, and you must start the entire game over completely. And on the surface, that might just seem like more of that Contra difficulty I was mentioning earlier. But the original had a way of making that challenge balanced and fun. The better you got at the game, the better it felt. And you made it past a point you hadn't before and learned a little more about the game, and you felt better and better about it. Shattered Soldier missed that memo and instead throws new patterns at you to make things harder, and spends most of its time making enemies completely invincible. Entire boss fights will go by where even if you know the pattern perfectly, it will still take forever, simply because their openings are so infrequent. There are even bosses who I would swear can't be dodged. I would get every pattern down as perfectly as possible, and whether or not an ability could be dodged seemed entirely up to the whims of fate. And any time I successfully dodged it, it looked more like a collision glitched again. Often, bosses or challenges feel like they have one specific way they were intended to be beaten, and if you don't immediately know what to do, it will be next to impossible. The difficulty didn't feel enjoyable or like it was pushing you to try again. It just felt like someone looked at the game design sheet for Contra, read difficulty, and didn't go on to read anything else. Well, if the gunplay is underwhelming, and difficulty is just obnoxious instead of pushing you to improve and giving you that adrenaline rush, what did they put into the game?
Alright, which one's you gonna do? Which one? Which one?
Ah, you'll do.
He's gonna be good.
That's pretty much what the game has going for it, is the constant feeling of, okay, this can't get more insane. Enormous mecha robot running alongside a train car. Humans merging with an alien to create something straight from hell because Satan was getting a little too uncomfortable having them around.
Dan.
Yeah.
We need to have a chat.
Yeah, what's up, boss?
I know this is hell and everything, Dan, but you're freaking people out, and that's really not okay.
What are you talking about?
Jesus!
Language!
Sorry. Dan, can you get up? This isn't working. You need help. You need Jesus, and he's not allowed down here anymore. And you need to not be doing this. Service! Now! Let's get you a job as a TV producer or something.
The designs are only interesting at first, though. As you play through the level repeatedly to learn the patterns, the bosses just start to overstay their welcome. The fish boss in particular is the worst. While it took 3 minutes to get back from the midpoint of the level that you respawn at to fight the boss fight, because he has so few openings, the fight itself took 14 minutes. Just under a quarter of an hour repeating patterns perfectly while you've become completely desensitized to the horror show in front of you. But then, after all of that creativity, they got lazy at the end. It's just a big, seemingly endless, multi-part boss fight. First phase is an army dude with superpowers. Okay, mostly just obnoxious, but kinda cool, as long as he's not using the ability that moves from the back of the screen to the front of the screen, so you just need to already be in the right spot to dodge it. Then phase 2 is a spider testicle? Okay, it's kinda gory, but it's easy once you know what to do. Then it's a big worm. Okay. My character said the manberry was from the soldier fusing with the alien, so is this worm his new alien form? Well, seemingly not, because now we're transported without explanation or connection again, and we're fighting 2 dust mites. Just because you cover something in bloody viscera doesn't make it scary or cool, it just makes it hard to clean up. Then we fight a tree stump. An angry, sentient tree stump. There is still no connection to any of the previous fights, and this once again is a big phase-based fight that drags itself out by making the boss invincible 99% of the time. Then, yes, it's still not over, you fight this. I am unsure how on earth to describe this thing, but it feels good. It has patterns and weak points, and you have to sneak in hits between attacks while being able to read and respond to a clear pattern that can be read without knowing exactly what's coming beforehand. This is what classic Contra was about. And that's because this is the laziest part of the game so far. This is literally just a previous boss from the series recycled. Seriously. But you finally make it through every single phase in one attempt. You learned every pattern. You beat everything. At least there will be some explanation, right?
My God, yes.
Try normal for additional better endings. To be continued. No. There's nothing. You didn't play it on the absurd, stupid difficulty. You don't deserve any kind of ending. Okay. But this ending had better be amazing and explain everything about everything. Let me break it down to make it see-through as I delegate my hatred for this. If you are masochistic enough to actually want to play this game the way it wants you to and dedicate enough of your life to it that you could become a top-level speedrunner in a much more enjoyable game, then you will get a cutscene where the magic soldier is just laying there in the first area you fought him in. All that stuff about merging with an alien in the multi-stage boss fight, completely unaddressed, doesn't even seem to have happened. He reveals that the government are the real bad guys, not the aliens. In fact, it seems to retcon the entire Contra series to this point, saying that the aliens only attacked in the first game because we had stolen something incredibly precious and irreplaceable from them. We were the aggressors for the whole series.
Excuse me, what?
So now we have to take the fight to the old fogies who run the world government. So now there's an entire another set of stages that you can only access by playing through this game up to this point so that you can die over and over again learning those levels. You fight a generic helicopter mecha, easily the least interesting design for a mecha yet in the game, and once again it has very limited openings to actually hit it. Once it's beaten, you fly into the void space. The plane you've been riding atop vanishes, but you keep standing in midair, and the triumvirate of old men hover down in magic future mobility scooters and taunt you. They then pull out the relic, which proceeds to kill them and transform into the Silver Surfer with a Majin Buu haircut. Considering that Dragon Ball Episode 421 came out 9.5 years earlier, and the Marvel comic introduced the Surfer 36 years earlier, not original in the slightest. Kill that version and it turns into... Okay, that's fairly original. What's next? Ah, an evil jellyfish. Okay. Not necessarily the most creative, and I really would like an explanation for why the artifact is doing this, but at least the game is still interesting now. Beat it again, and instead it becomes an amoeba. A single-celled organism that you must shoot repeatedly to push the plasma surrounding the center of the cell away to hit it. That's been a boss in video games since day one. That is not remotely interesting or original, Contra. I demand you give me something different. No, Contra, a seizure is not different. And as the seizure clears... What? What is this? That's a big pulsing tree, and those are very clearly sperm. Are we supposed to be inside the testicle from earlier? What is going on? It dies. It explodes. Our plane is back and we're riding it away. The frog, now with Silver Surfer sticking out of its head, tries to give chase. One more part to the boss fight. When you beat that phase, it keeps the form it already had and you shoot it more. And then that's the game. Credits roll. And there's an after-credit scene of you flying in on the plane to a cheering crowd of people and a still frame screen. Mission complete. Due to your brave actions, you have saved humanity from the brink of extinction. You are a true hero and will be remembered throughout the ages for your selfless acts. Wait, humanity was going to go extinct? When was that even a situation that was on the table? If humanity is on the brink of being wiped out entirely, who is building these enormous mech suits? Who is requiring and operating roads and trains that would need an infrastructure far larger and more active than we currently have today? What was this game? Well, I can tell you what it wasn't. Worth the time. This isn't the worst game I've played, especially when it comes to shooters. But it fails to grasp what it was about the first game that made its difficulty enjoyable to the masses. I'm sure there's lots of people out there who love this game's brutal difficulty, but that's a very niche group. And the first Contra didn't require you to be part of that niche group to enjoy it. even if you couldn't beat it. It would never have become the franchise it is today and had been released over and over if that was the case. The game does have some neat ideas and some terrifying designs, but that isn't enough to suggest that you bother to pick it up. If you're really interested, just hop on YouTube, pull up a VOD of somebody playing through without ever getting hit on the hardest difficulty, and experience everything in its full impact and everything that it has. Do not pull up a stream unless they clearly more than know what they're doing. Otherwise, it's going to become exasperating to watch even faster than it would be to play. And if you ever catch a fish that looks like that, don't tell me.